Well, do you know which country has been the most successful in protecting its citizens from coronavirus? For many people, they might say Sweden, Singapore, South Korea, possibly any of those could come to mind.
But incredibly, Vietnam leads the way, and by a considerable margin too. The country of almost 100 million people has had just over 300 positive cases, and it has not recorded a single death from the disease. While you might think those figures could be fake and the real numbers just haven't been reported, they have been verified by a number of world bodies.
Joining us now is Matt Young, who is from the Australia-Vietnam Chamber of Commerce in Ho Chi Minh City. Good morning to you. So lovely to see you, Matt. Now, the figures are not fake. When you go through all of the world bodies that have looked at this, they sort of show up to be right. Vietnam is reporting all cases.
Yeah, look, certainly for us here, living, working here, we've been incredibly fortunate to be here. We've been really well looked after, and yeah, I've got many friends who are doctors working in the industry, and they just say, no, the numbers are very much real, and we're feeling really safe and extremely lucky.
Quite incredible, I think, when you consider, the border with China. We're told Vietnam's success was the government moving so quickly, lockdowns certainly as early as January. Can you run us through what sort of measures were put in place and how quickly?
Well, look, I got back from the Tet holiday, which is the Lunar New Year holiday, to find my staff telling me I had to wear a mask to come to work. The schools never returned post the 2-week break late January. They've only just gone back. They closed the border to Wuhan initially because we had some workers up there. And then very quickly that moved on to China. We actually cleared our first 16 cases, and then we had some more come in from Italy, UK and US. So the borders closed down to those quite quickly as well. They quarantined everybody as they came into the country for 14 days. And it's been very successful. Our lockdown was really only about 4 weeks, but it was quite intense, just like it is in Australia. In fact, the measures taken are very similar to Australia, maybe just a couple of weeks ahead, and the results seem to be about the same. So, I mean, it's looking good for Australia too. We're really watching home, and it's great to see the similar trajectory.
Yes, interesting. People are saying that Vietnam really learnt some lessons after SARS in the early 2000s. Now, Weekend Sunrise had a segment a couple of months ago where we showed Vietnam's public health campaign. Now, at the time, we had nothing here in Australia, but of course, a campaign's no good if the public don't listen. So how did the Vietnamese people respond to that public health campaign?
Look, I think the big takeaway here is the sense of community. Everybody realised that no one person was going to save us. We're all going to save each other. So, the social distancing wasn't just done for me personally to look after me. It was done for my neighbour so that if I did accidentally have it, which being such an asymptomatic disease, I didn't give it to them. Same with wearing the face masks, washing their hands. We get temperature checked as we go into our offices. And everybody complied. There was no even rush buying. There was a very quick rush buying for less than a couple of days on face masks, but we had plenty of toilet paper and food all the way through. So look, they really did come together as a community, and the expat community here exactly the same. I would say the vast majority. You've always got 0.03% or something that are a bit odd about it, but I would say that the Vietnamese community came together as a community and looked after each other, and that was fantastic.
Matt, just quickly, can I ask you about, there's some talk that travel might resume between Australia and New Zealand. I understand the Vietnamese government will also push to be included here on the basis that it's safe there.
Oh, look, I certainly can't speak for the Vietnamese government. I did see an announcement yesterday that they're cautiously looking at opening up borders, and the first people they will look to are those who've got a proven track record on containing and looking after the coronavirus. Certainly as a business community, we would support that very, very strongly because obviously we've all suffered here, and tourism's approximately 10% of the Vietnamese economy. So it's a really important thing to us. It's a beautiful country. So yeah, we would love to be part of that Trans-Tasman bubble as soon as it's safe. I'm not an epidemiologist. I'm sure the two nations will work together to verify figures and make sure that we're safe, and when the time's right, Yeah, we very much hope Vietnam's one of the first countries that you guys consider opening up to. We'd love to see you here, and we'd love to come down and see you down there. I mean, it makes total sense. We've last year, Australia and New Zealand signed a free trade agreement with ASEAN. So you guys are already close to Vietnam.
Yeah.
There's great stuff going on at high level, and it would be just fantastic to see Australians back in Vietnam, but safe.
Yeah, fingers crossed. It feels like international travel's quite a way away, but that would be a wonderful development. Matt Young from the Australia-Vietnam Chamber of Commerce, thanks very much for your time.
Really interesting.